Hi, my name is Beth Heidern. I'm the Executive Director here at the Racine Zoo. And today's episode of Racine Zoo to You is going to be all about carnivores. Carnivores are animals that hunt prey and eat meat. They help keep the ecosystem in balance by making sure populations are not over the number that we would need to be sustainable here on the planet. We have amazing carnivores here at the Racine Zoo. We have African lions, we have Canada lynx, and we have Amur tigers. They are located in what we call Cat Canyon. So take a look at those when you come visit us at the zoo. Inside the building, that looks like a castle that we call Vanishing Kingdom, we have Arctic foxes and Fusa, amazing creatures that you're going to learn from our zookeepers later today on this episode. And then we also have an Andean bear located on the far east side of the zoo property, right on Lake Michigan. So we look forward to this episode and have a really good time today learning all about carnivores.
When someone goes to a zoo, often the first things they think about being able to see are lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, those are all together in one routine here at the zoo, our carnivore routine. So carnivores are one of the most charismatic animals you can see at zoos. They're mammals like us, their faces are fluffy and cute, and they just really resonate with our guests. And that makes them a very powerful tool for conservation. It is so important for zoos to exhibit large carnivores because of their charisma. They are one of the best ways to connect the public to wanting to protect animals in the wild. See, if I told you that we had an endangered species of leech or worm or even sometimes frogs and turtles, it's really hard to get people excited about wanting to contribute to their conservation. But when you have a large, charismatic carnivore, like an Andean bear or an Amur tiger or an African lion living in a habitat, that is an animal that draws people in and make them want to protect that. And those charismatic megafauna, as we say in the field, are kind of umbrella species. And by that I mean that they create an umbrella of protection that protects all the other animals in their ecosystem as well. If you protect the lion, that means that you also have to protect the food that the lion relies on, the antelope, the ibex, the other animals that share their habitat. And in protecting those, you have to start protecting the plants that they use to eat, which then helps protect even endangered insect species. So that umbrella really does cascade down to protecting not just a single species, but an entire habitat. So when we're collecting funds on our conservation days for these animals, or when we're educating the public about these animals, or just when you see them lounging around the zoo, know that you are really helping to conserve not just a single species, but wildlife as a whole.
I'm Amy Peterson. I'm the head carnivore keeper here at the Racine Zoo. I've been zookeeping for 12 years now, and I've actually been at Racine for 7 years. So I'm standing in front of our African lion exhibit. There are actually two species of lion, the Asiatic lion and the African lion. Like I said, we have African lions here at the Racine Zoo. Our pride, it has 3 lions in it. It's actually a mom, dad, and daughter. Right here behind me is Zuri. She's the daughter of our pride. And then we have Azizi, who's the mom, and Aslan, who's the dad. Aslan actually is very important to the lion species survival plan. Species survival plans are what govern the genetics of a lot of different species within zoos. And Aslan has actually fathered 10 children, and he has 28 grandchildren that we know of within zoos across the country. So he's been very helpful for the genetics of lions in zoos. Like I said, we have 3 lions in our pride, but in the wild, lion prides can have anywhere between 4 and 20 individuals. The larger the pride, the bigger animals that they can hunt in the wild. A lot of times in the wild they'll hunt anywhere from zebras all the way up to elephants. So here at the Racine Zoo we do an awful lot of training with our animals. It's called operant conditioning. That's where we use positive reinforcement a lot. So the animals can choose whether or not they want to train, and so it's really cool that they get to participate and choose whether or not they want to do the training. So our lions actually know a lot of different behaviors, so it's really awesome to be able to work with such an intelligent animal. So some of the behaviors that they know how to do are sit, up, down. Zuri actually really likes to do painting, so that's really fun to do that and create lots of really wonderful artwork. All three of these lions know how to go on the scale when we ask them to do that, so it's really cool to track their weights and then be able to know whether or not they're healthy. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to work with these guys and do lots of different behaviors, and also really helps out when we need to do medical procedures and work around the vet and everything like that. It's also really helpful with shifting with them, because we don't go in with our lions. It's a safety issue, obviously, to not go in with dangerous carnivores like that. So we actually are able to call them. They all know their names. And so we ask them, we call their names and then we say the word shift. So then they all come in off exhibit. We have two different doors that we use. So then they kind of know which door they want to come in, and then we separate them. And then we're able to go in onto exhibit, clean, and then we lock the doors and then we let them back out. So our lions are really awesome because they like to play with different kinds of enrichment, and here at the Racine Zoo we have a lot of different categories. Our lions are definitely motivated by novel enrichment, which is a lot of different kinds of toys and other things like that. They also really like edible enrichment, which is a lot of different kinds of food and stuff like that. So they really love frozen watermelons, which you wouldn't think, being a carnivore, they'd really like that kind of stuff, but they just love to like tear into things and destroy things like that. They also really like cabbage, which is again another weird kind of thing for a carnivore to like, but I like to call it making coleslaw, so that's kind of different. They also really like getting different kinds of ice treats. We actually take some of the blood that's used when their meat thaws out, and we make little bloodsicles for them, so kind of like a popsicle but more for a carnivore. So yeah, lots of different kinds of enrichment that they like to get, and it's just really fun for their keepers that when you make something then you get to give it to your animal and see all the different kinds of fun things that they're gonna do with it.
Lions, like so many animals here at the Racine Zoo, are governed by an SSP, or Species Survival Plan. A Species Survival Plan is something put in place by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, or AZA, that helps us maintain a really great genetic diversity within different animal populations like our lions. That tells us who is going to breed with who and why. So that makes sure that we don't have cousins mating with cousins, or that we're just breeding our lions with lions from around here, so that we really have that good diversity. We don't end up with any inbreeding or things like that. Aslan, our alpha male here at the Racine Zoo, has been incredibly successful and a huge part of his SSP, and has over 40 offspring living in zoos all around the country. So with 40 offspring, he is all done now, and he is just getting to live out a great life of retirement with his girlfriend and his youngest daughter. SSPs are really important for us for managing species in zoos and making sure that we always have a really great population in case a reintroduction effort should ever occur. SSPs also help us when we're planning out new exhibits, and that is how we got our 2 new lynx cubs. We had an empty exhibit, so we reached out to a couple of carnivore SSPs and said, hey, who needs another facility to house some of your animals? And the lynx SSP said that they were really excited and hoping to find a home for some new cubs that were born, and we said, absolutely, we will take them. And so our 2 lynx moved here, and they are part of the SSP, and may someday, either here or at another facility, go on to have cubs of their own. So So let's go meet Sam and meet our new Lynx boys.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm one of the carnivore keepers here at the Racine Zoo, and we're in front of our lynx exhibit. Behind me are two of our newest members to the zoo family, Barney and Bam Bam. They are Canada lynx, one of the 3 kinds of lynx species found around the world. They came to us from the Montgomery Zoo. They're about a year old and they're brothers. So when we get a new animal at the zoo, it's very exciting, but there's also a lot of prep work and thought that needs to go into how we're going to incorporate them into our normal daily routines. With these guys, something that we're working on right now is called a recall system. So what we're doing is we're ringing this bell and then feeding them part of their diet so that they will start incorporating the bell with the food. So eventually, what our goal is that we'll be able to ring the bell and the lynx will come inside or outside depending on what we need them to do, because they'll come for their food, and then this will make shifting and moving them around to where we need them to go a lot easier later on. We are still in the beginning stages of this, so we're still just establishing that this sound is connected to the food. So that's what I'm currently doing, just ringing the bell and feeding them meatballs.
Hi guys, my name is Sam. I'm the relief carnivore keeper here at the Racine Zoo. Right now I'm here with the Arctic foxes, Echo and Luna. Just like their name suggests, they are from the Arctic regions in the Northern Hemisphere, and they've actually adapted a couple qualities to live in that habitat, such as their fur. They have some really thick white fur that keeps them nice and warm in even negative 140-degree weather, which is pretty crazy. And they will change colors depending on the season. So as it gets warmer out, they could possibly get darker. Due to the lack of drastic climate change, they aren't going to change as drastically, but they will change to a darker color in the summer. The other thing that they have that's well adapted for their Arctic regions is their pointy ears. And those ears actually allow them to hear their prey moving underground, which is pretty crazy. Echo and Luna, the foxes we have here, have been here for pretty much their whole lives. They are turning 3 years old this year, and I've had the privilege of working with them since they were very little and they first got to the zoo, which has really upped my relationship with them and have allowed me to form a good personal bond with them. Echo is our more outgoing and charismatic fox. He is going to be the one that squeals when he gets happy and runs around, and you'll see the tail wagging and all that kind of fun stuff. And Luna is more of the quiet one. She's a little more shy. They both do get very excited over hard-boiled egg and ice cubes and bloodsicles and all that kind of fun stuff, but the one you're going to see the most personality out of is Echo. So one of the things that we try to do here is training. So these guys are both target trained, and Echo and Luna both have personal target sticks that they know to touch their nose to, and when they do touch their nose to it, they get bridged with the clicker. That clicker means that what they did was correct, and they will be rewarded with their food right afterwards. And usually the biggest motivator for them is hard-boiled egg pieces. We are currently working on some crate training, and that's when we're going to be able to tell them to crate, and they will go right into there, and that will help us for exams and other procedures that we need to transport them for out to another place in the zoo.
How we doing today, guys? My name is Gage. I am a commissary keeper here at the Racine Zoo. What a commissary keeper is somebody who makes all the diets for all the animals around the zoo and delivers them to the different areas. We work with the veterinarians and make sure that these animals are getting what they need, as far as nutritional content and keeping their weights healthy and keeping these animals happy. So today we're going to start with the Andean bears. These are different bears than like a grizzly, you would imagine. They're going to be mostly omnivores, so they eat a lot of different fruits and vegetables. So we give them an array every day of apples, sweet potato, carrots, watermelon, different mangoes and things like that, depending on what day of the week it is. But today is melon day, one of Diamond's favorites. He's our male Andean bear, so he's gonna get some watermelon. So I'm gonna weigh up a bunch of that for him. Today he's roughly gonna get around a 3/4 of a watermelon, I would say. So we're gonna throw these in their buckets. We do have some different supplements in there for them. Today they're getting omega-3 capsules, so we'll just toss those in. We're also gonna do some raw apple. Diamond does get more food than Nora does, just because he's a larger bear. We like to make sure that he's bigger, he gets a little bit more than her. You know, guys like to eat. One thing about Diamond though is he does get some cooked vegetables. So I have already cooked these up. The reason he gets those is he has trouble with his teeth and chewing. So we give him some cooked stuff. It's a little easier to swallow and chew down. So we'll throw some of that in there. And then if you guys want to take a look, this is going to be kind of what Diamond gets for his whole day of cooking here. So then what we'll do is we'll just take this, throw it right in the fridge, put that in there. Later in the day, we're gonna bring it over up by the bear exhibit and we'll feed it out tomorrow. We have here some of our carnivore diets we're gonna be doing again today. So we have Naka here, our Amur tiger, one of ours. These guys do eat a ton. They eat lots and lots of our meat here, which we call AAA. So today and every day except one day a week, these guys are gonna get 10 pounds of meat. On that day that they don't, we call it a fast day, which they get a bone to chew on and gnaw through. Kind of keeps them on that naturalistic diet where if they wouldn't get a kill that week, we would have them eating the leftover bones. So we'll just start weighing it up here. Take it out, throw it in. 62. So these guys will eat all of this meat extremely quickly as well. It takes them about, I would say, 2 minutes to consume all 10 pounds of this here. So we'll just throw it in here. And when we're all done, we'll take this, pick it up, throw it in the cooler. We'll feed it out in the morning, and these guys are all done for the day.
So here we are at the Fusa exhibit here at the Racine Zoo. So this is Karindi. He is 13 years old. Fusa come from Madagascar. They actually hunt lemurs in the wild. Here at the Racine Zoo, he gets a diet of ground beef and chickens. You can tell that he makes a lot of different kinds of noises. He kind of does growls, chirps, chortles, grunts, squeals, even some things that I don't even know how to describe. He was hand raised at Cincinnati, so he kind of identifies with people a little bit. Fusa are really cool animals. They're actually their own thing. They used to be said that they were related to cats, and then that people thought that they were related to mongooses, but then DNA showed that they're actually in their own family. They also have really cool wrist bones, so besides being able to go up trees, they actually can also climb down trees face first. So not a lot of animals can do that. Their tail is as long as their body, which helps act like a rudder when they're running through trees to chase after lemurs. So that's how they keep their balance in trees.
How many people have ever heard of a Fusa before? Not very many. That's why it's so important to have animals like that in zoos that you may not hear about on TV or in documentaries or that kind of thing. So coming in and getting to see Karindi, our Fusa, up close really helps people understand that those animals even exist. And if you don't know an animal exists, you are certainly not going to take action to protect it if you don't even know who he is. That is also what we use when we're trying to choose some of our animals when we're acquiring animals here at the zoo. When you think of a bear, you might think of a polar bear or a grizzly bear, but most people haven't heard of an Andean bear. And that's why we have Andean bears here at the zoo. So let's go meet our bears now.
All right, so we're here at our bear building. I'm sitting here with Nora, our Andean bear. There's 8 different species of bears in the world, and here at the zoo we have Andean bears. They're native to South America. And this is Nora, she's our female. We have a male and a female bear. Nora is 27 years old and Diamond is 28. In human care, these bears can live into their lower 30s. And as they age, we do tend to all their medical needs. Such as Nora here, she does have arthritis and some allergies, and she is treated for both of those by our veterinary care staff. All right, some cool facts about Andean bears is that out of all the zoos in North America, there's only about 20 zoos that actually have the Andean bear species. These guys are native to South America, and they're the only short-faced bear species left in the world. The rest of them, unfortunately, died out during the last ice age. Some other cool facts about these guys is that they make nests in trees, which they're the only bear species to do that. Since we're a small zoo in Wisconsin and we have such a special species as this, makes this zoo really neat. They are also the second most herbivorous bear next to the panda. So Nora here is, even though Nora and Diamond are both Andean bears, they have very different personalities. Nora is more personable with her keepers. She's big on scents, and when I'm working with the rhinos up at the north end, she can actually smell that, and she's not a big fan of rhino scent, it turns out. She actually will smell it in my hair and on my clothing because rhino scent doesn't leave, ever. She is also big on ripping up boxes. She loves to forage for her food through boxes, and that's one way that we like to incorporate enrichment into her daily routine. She also really likes interactions with her keepers. While Diamond is more food motivated, and he is more into different kinds of food and different frozen watermelons, and that's one of his favorites, I personally think, and he actually very much enjoys those.
Hi, so we're standing in front of our Amur tiger exhibit here at the Racine Zoo. Behind me is Anya, one of our female tigers. She is 14 years old. We actually have 2 tigers here at the Racine Zoo. Our other one is Naka. She's also a female. She's 15 years old, but tigers are solitary in the wild, unlike lions, which are the only true social cat. So when you come to the Racine Zoo, you'll only see 1 tiger on exhibit. Our other one will be back in the dens, and then we switch them every other day. So yeah, when you're looking on exhibit, there actually will only be 1 tiger, and you can tell them apart because Anya has perfect eyebrows and Naka actually has a W above her left eye. Tiger stripes are actually like a fingerprint, so every tiger has different markings, so that's how you can tell Anya and Naka apart. There are actually 9 different subspecies of tiger, but 3 of them are extinct. There are only 6 species left in the wild. So like I said, we have Amur tigers here at the Racine Zoo. These guys come from Russia naturally, so they really love our Wisconsin winters. You should see them when they get into the snow. They love to run around, and they actually make tiger snow angels, which is what I like to call it. They roll around on their backs, and it's really fun. It's really great to see them when it starts snowing. So here at the zoo, we get the opportunity to collaborate with a bunch of different conservation partners. So with the tigers, we actually collaborated with the Proustin Project, which is a really awesome conservation organization that's doing vocal acoustic research. So a couple of years ago, we actually got one of their vocal recorders and spent 2 weeks recording our tigers with the sounds that they actually make. So different tigers are found out to make their own individual sounds between different species and different individuals. So it's really cool that this happens. So the Proustin Project is doing research on this, and then they're also hoping to go out into the wild and find out if they can do census data on these different individual tigers to figure out how many tigers there actually are in the wild. This will be a very big change for the conservation of tigers in the wild, since it's really hard with camera traps to figure out how many tigers there are. But if you can figure out from their vocal recordings how many tigers there are in the wild, this would be really great.
The Person Project is just one of many things we use to protect endangered species and help with their conservation in the wild. Unfortunately, with Amur tigers, as beautiful and wonderful as they are, largest cat in the world, there are estimated to be only about 500 of them left in the wild. That's not 5,000, that's 500. That's about how many kids were in my high school. That is the entire population left of tigers in the wild, and that is why it is so important for us to educate and conserve these species so that they are around for future generations. Those tigers are something that our children and our children's children may not be able to see if we don't act now to protect these amazing, charismatic megafauna that we've seen in this episode today. So don't wait, come on down to the zoo and get a chance to see that tiger up close. She is absolutely gorgeous, and I guarantee you won't regret it.
Wow, carnivores. Aren't they just amazing creatures? I know that they're hunting their prey and they use a lot of energy when they're doing that, especially out in the wild. But as you can see by today's episode, you can see how well we take care of our wonderful carnivores that we have here at the Racine Zoo. We have African lions and our Canada lynx, as well as our Amur tigers in Cat Canyon. Don't forget about that. And then again, our Fusa and our Arctic foxes in the main building that we call Vanishing Kingdom, and then our Andean bears are located on the far east side. So when you come to visit the zoo, again, we're at 2131 North Main Street, just north of downtown Racine. You will be able to see these wonderful creatures that we call carnivores here at the Racine Zoo. Look forward to seeing you.